Going on, GPC fans out there? I'm Mr. Josh, and I'll be bringing you my Week 9 match versus Melon and the Executor Chief Electivires. So as you can see, his team is between the San Francisco Reggie Giants and the Crawthorne Crabhammers. You can see his team consists of Reuniclus, Crobat, Tangrowth, Mamoswine, Mega Absol, Seismitoad, Snorlax, Regirock, Emboar, and the three moles. Anyways, yeah, as you can see, he has the Pigcore that Mega Mogwai has made famous. I mentioned that in my last video, but yeah, that's not the point. Anyways, the only difference, weakness that I would see on his team is that he doesn't have a good form of speed control. Besides like T-Wave on the Reuniclus, but like he doesn't have really sticky. He doesn't really have a lot of sticky web. He can run Tailwind on Crobat, but I don't think he's ever really used that. Plus, Tailwind's pretty ineffective for the most part. Even though I did try to bring it for my opponent in week 7, so that's up. Anyways, it was a week 8. I don't know. Anyways, week 9. You can see his team is listed here, and like I said, the speed tiers are very confusing. Like Dugtrio is one of his fastest Pokemon. Mega Absol is fast, but before Mega Evolves, it's pretty slow. And you got Crobat, pretty fast Pokemon. He's been using it as a utility Pokemon so far. Hasn't really brought offensive, I don't think. He might have a couple times. And he has a good amount of bulk. He has Reuniclus, he has Regenerator with Tangrowth, he has the Seismitoad for Scald immunity. He has a good amount of ground types. He has a Dugtrio, he has a Seismitoad, and he has a Mamoswine. So yeah, my Manectric really can't do anything for the most part. And overall, I see his team as a pretty big, weird team of speed. Like it just goes from 115 to I don't even know what Dugtrio's base speed is, but it's very fast. That's all I know. And it goes from like 115, then it goes all the way down. Well, you got Crobat, then you got Mega Absol, then you got Dugtrio. Then after that, it goes down to like base 80 or something like that. It's really slow. It's weird. Anyways, we should go to my team builder really quick. As you can see, my team is right here. If you don't know my team, I've been showcasing it so far this season, but I will scroll to my team if you don't know. My team is indeed the Manaphy, the Togekiss, the Mega Scizor, Arcanine, Latias, Paliswine, Virizion, Manectric, and the Gigalith. Yeah, let's slide on to the team builder real quick. As you can see, we have Rojo Tojo, the Latias, Choice Specs Latias coming this week. Max special attack of Modest Nature. I have enough speed to outspeed his Mamoswine because there's really no need to run any more speed because I can't outspeed Crobat. I can't outspeed the Mega Absol. I can before Mega, but he probably will have Sucker Punch, so there's really no need to run a lot of speed for that. And even then, I think I outspeed it because Mega Absol is normal Absol is just really slow. And I can't outspeed Dugtrio, and Dugtrio really cannot do too much to me unless he has like Sucker Punch. And even then, I'm pretty sure I can switch because actually I don't know how that works. I've never actually been trapped as a Latias, but that's not the point. We were in Draco and Psyshock because it's really all I need. Psyshock is just so I can hit Snorlax a little harder because Draco will hit it for the less damage. And look at his team. Oh wait, I need to scroll back to his team really quick. And yeah, here we are. Yeah, he doesn't have a fairy type. No fairy type on his team. Really interesting. So no dragon immunity. And his psychic, he does have a Mega Absol, but you don't switch that into a Latias most of the time. So most of the time I can just drop a Draco whenever I get a free switch on, say, like Tangrowth or Seismitoad. If you just set up rocks with those. And Ice Shard doesn't kill me, and unless he's like Scarf, he won't be able to kill me at all. And I can just blow him away with Draco Meteor. Choice specs, and with the Modest Nature, I just hit like a truck. And it's very good. And then I have Healing Wish for support and Trick because if I feel like Snorlax needs to be tricked, I can just trick it. Or if Reuniclus wants to come in, I can trick that thing too. Even though I would be giving it a spec, so I would probably never do that. But I could if I really need to. So it can like just lock itself into a move that can't hit my whole team, such as HP Fire or Psychic. So next Pokemon is my Flame. My physically defensive. Well, it's not physically defensive that this week. It's actually offensive of Sugar Berry because I want to be able to take an Earthquake if I need to, considering Flare Blitz doesn't do a kill. And I don't want to lower my defense to close combat because I would die, even with the Sugar Berry, so there's no need to do that. So I prefer to just go for 2 Flare Blitzes and get the job done. I'm running E-Speed for like the first time in Arcanine in my entire life because I hate the move E-Speed in Arcanine. I just find it terrible. But with Mega Absol, Swords Dance Mega Absol could potentially be a problem, so I feel like that's just necessary. And I went offline, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, and anyways, what else can I mention? Like, I'm not bringing Toxic or Arcanine. I'm not bringing Toxic or Will-O-Wisp on my Arcanine this week, which sucks because I really wanted to, but I need these 3 attacks because close combat's really good for Snorlax because it can't really set up on me. And E-Speed, like I said, it's just good for priority if everything is weakened. Like it does lots of dog trail. So if he does trap me, I can go for E-speed break the sash, which is I feel like was really cool. And I mean, it's also good. Like I said, it's good for Mega Absol, and that's pretty much it. And I feel like those two Pokemon were enough of a reason to bring E-speed. And I'm running max attack. I couldn't run Adamant because I wanted more bulk, so I ran a Jolly, which is enough speed to outspeed aim Mamoswine, and Intimidate because I can lower the attack on Mega Absol if I really want to, because it's still a pretty decent switch in. And I can also, intimidate his Snorlax if I want to, and even his Regirock. And Crobat too. This thing is really good switching to Crobat. I'm just trying to think of reasons why I'm bringing this, but it's really good for like a defensive, offensive Pokemon. You can do both, which is what I love about Arcanine. Next Pokemon is King Scizor, the Mega Scizor. One of the most underwhelming Pokemon I've had on my team next to Manaphy, but that's, I mean, this time bringing Swords Dance, put the Bullet Punch and the Bug Bite. If I go up to like +4, I can easily like Oko and Ambor, which is pretty cool. And what else do I need to mention? I mean, Bug Bite's there for Reuniclus. Max attack, Bug Bite to Reuniclus, unless he's like max defense, will kill most of the time. And that's great. Swords Dance, so I can just set up. And if I can go to, like I said, if I somehow go to +4 on this team, that'd be great. It sets up on Crobat unless he brings like Heat Wave, which would be pretty cool if he does. And it can also easily set up on Mamoswine. And plus, Mamoswine wouldn't want to stay in most of the time, unless he really wants to just risk it. And plus, Mamoswine lives a Bullet Punch from a max attack Mega Scizor to begin with, so I guess he could if he really wants to. And, I really wanted to run U-turn, but, like, SD U-turn seemed pretty cool, but but Bullet Punch does a lot more to, Reuniclus than a U-turn would, because U-turn doesn't even Oko a Trick Room set with just max HP, so I just felt like Bug Bite was a more essential move here. Next is possibly my MVP of the entire season, the Young Swine, the Mamoswine. I mean, the Paloswine, not the Mamoswine. That's the mini version of the Paloswine. Introduced 2 gens before Mamoswine even existed, but that's not the point. We're here to bring a defensive Paloswine because this thing is actually a very good check. Well, it's not. You can't just switch into an Emboar, but you can switch in on an Emboar, and it can never kill you. An Earthquake destroys it. Unless he's like bulky Emboar Will-O-Wisp. I always kill Earthquake or Sugar Berry. Whatever works. And it's a really good Pokemon for his team actually, because it shuts down Crobat. It shuts down the Snorlax because of Roar. Regirock can't really do too much to me unless he has like Drain Punch, which will do literally 0. And Dugtrio can literally not do anything to me. Unless he's like Sash and it goes for Reversal, which even then does so little to me. It's actually crazy. This thing can take not a lot of damage from Mamoswine. This is one of the best Mamoswine counters in the game, in my opinion, because it just doesn't take a lot from anything. Or the other good check is like Colbert, Bronzong, but even then that takes a good amount from knockoff. This thing doesn't. You have to throw in superpower to actually do a lot to this thing, and that requires lowering your defense and your attack, which I don't find reliable. And toxic is for Pokemon like the so to say like you can toxic Snorlax to make it go for rest earlier. It's good for like Tangrowth if it decides to switch in because it's one of his only really good switch-ins to Paloswine because Ice Crash will not do a lot to it. And it's also good for Pokemon like Toad. It can hit Regirock as Earthquake will not hit Regirock for a lot of damage, and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not here for Stuff Rock. You'll see why, because I mean you can see the Gigalith coming again this week for the second time this season, more than I thought it would ever come actually. But that's great because I love Gigalith. Reminds me of my boy Sean, which is awesome. So, which is great because I didn't need to run Stuff Rock my Paloswine, so it didn't have as much stress as a wall, and it could actually be a pretty good offensive wall because even with just 4 attack investment, it just does so much damage with Stab Earthquake. It's insane. My next Pokemon is my Scarf Togekiss. I know it's a bad set, but you know what? It's really good versus this team because if like Snorlax dies, this thing like 3 kills most of his team with just Air Slash, and if I get the 60% chance to fletch it in my favor, it's good. Regirock is also a pretty good counter, but I don't think he'll bring Regirock. If he easily can, he could, because there's not a lot of reason for him to not do so, but he might not do so. And look at his team. Reuniclus it takes somewhat of a decent amount. Like it might be a 4 KO, depends on its spread. Crobat takes a lot. Tangrowth takes a million. Mamoswine takes a lot, even though I'm forced to take like an Ice Shard every time, which I probably will never do. There's lots of Mega Absol, which is why I brought Scarf. Not just because it's good versus team, but if Mega Absol goes to +2 versus me, Arcanine isn't a good check anymore because knockoff will do a million. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to just go with my Togekiss, go for Air Slash to kill him, and 2 second punches will not be able to OHKO me. After two, I mean. I have enough speed to outspeed a Scarf Emboar, and that's great. I only need Air Slash as my offensive move. Trick is for Pokemon like Reuniclus and Snorlax. This is the Pokemon I would click Trick on for Reuniclus because the Scarf Reuniclus is pretty useless. The Specs Reuniclus is not useless at all whatsoever. So yeah, this would be the Pokemon that I would trick Reuniclus more than anything. And Latias would be the one that I would trick a Snorlax, a Specs. Anyways, that's pretty much Togekiss this week. It has Defog in case it really needs to do so because people have been saying my team is really really cool, which I mean I think so as well. But the only problem is that my main offensive Pokemon, I mean it's my MVP so far this season in terms of kills. I don't think it's my MVP this season. I think Paliswine is, but in kills terms, it's Togekiss. But my team does not appreciate Stealth Rock at all. It really does not. And I think I've noticed is that people don't really bring Stealth Rock versus me, which I don't know why. I guess my Pokemon just really pressure the rockers on people's teams, but it's so I really haven't been relying on defog too much this season, which is great because it's I don't really like having to click defog on a turn. It wastes a turn. Your opponent can do something that can just turn the game around and you will lose. So anyways, last Pokemon is Shiny Boy, the Gigalith. My rocker this week was Superpower, Stone Edge, and Toxic. I don't need Earthquake. I need Stone. Superpower. I was just saying, Superpower is an unreliable move, but the only reason why I'm writing it is because after one tick of Life Orb, Superpower will OHKO a Mamoswine after a Superpower if he takes one Life Orb hit. And with the Sugar Berry, I always take an Earthquake. I can never die. I mean, if I'm under half, I will probably die, but that's not the point. I actually have a little bit of speed. I have 48 speed. It's just enough to outspeed a somewhat speed invested Snorlax if he wants to bring that for some reason. Like if he wants to bring like an AV Lax to out, and he runs a little bit of speed, is what probably outspeed this Lax. This also outspeeds Reuniclus, and that's great. I just went offline. That's cool, but that's not important. But yeah, overview the team. Get rocks up a Gigalith, defog if I need to, and then pressure him with Specs Lottie, SD Scizor, and offensive Arcanine. And then Palisade could just, eat some hits if he needs to. So yeah, that's going to be the team builder, and we shall be on to the replay right now. So yeah, I'm going to pause really quick and I'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the match. And yeah, as you can see, his team is on the other side. His only Stealth Rocker is Mamoswine. He brought the Emboar. He brought the Pigcore this week, which is pretty cool. He brought Lax. He brought the Reuniclus. He brought the Mega Absol. He brought the Tangrowth. Pretty much what I expected. I figured he could have brought Regirock because I felt like it was a pretty good check to Togekiss, but he didn't bring it, so that's good. And yeah, looking at his team, I'm thinking about what could be my best lead. I feel like my best lead is my Arcanine because looking at his team, he doesn't have the best check to it. His best counter would be like Reuniclus with like max special attack psychic. That would do a lot to me. And looking at my team, I just don't appreciate that Pokemon, but that's just my natural draft because I don't have a dark type, which is really bad. So yeah, fast psychic types can do a lot of work to me. I got a burp. Okay, there we go. And yeah, so yeah, I'm just gonna lead with the Arcanine. I'm gonna put this on slow really quick. As yeah, he's gonna lead with the Tangrowth, which is pretty good. This is a pretty good lead in my favor. If I was like Special Arcanine and Fire Blast, I would probably just OHKO this thing because he's not AV. Spoilers. So I'm just gonna go for Flare Blitz, see how much damage this will do. He does have some bulk because he takes that really well. And he's gonna go for the Sleep Powder, and he will unfortunately miss the Sleep Powder in the first turn, which I mean, I don't want to sound like Leo here from the UCL, but it's 75% accurate. If it misses, I mean that's kind of like missing a Hurricane, except it's a little more accurate. But I really did feel bad because I deserved to get hit by that Sleep Powder. So I go for close combat here. Let me explain this play. I mentioned going over my team earlier that this is one of his best counters to Paliswine in terms of a switch-in, especially since he didn't bring his flying type. He doesn't have ground immunity on his team besides this Tangrowth. So I figured he would just switch and not sack this thing. I feel like that was not his best play. So I went for CC, and he lives on 1%. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the roll was. And he's going to indeed go for the Sleep Powder again, and unfortunately he misses twice in a row, and that's just terrible. That's terrible. I felt really bad about that because at that point I deserved for my Arcanine to be put to sleep. Not in terms of like dying because he is a dog after all, but no, he deserved to go to sleep there, and it would have been fine too because I saw his set and his set could not touch my Arcanine at all, so I would have been able to burn turns to sleep against this thing, but He misses both sleep powders. That's really bad. I feel really bad about that. And Arcanine will pick up the first kill of the game. And it's now 6-5 in my favor already. So this gives him a free switch into the Mega Absol because I'm -1 in defense. Sure, close combat will easily destroy this thing, but I really cannot it can't stay in. The obvious knockoff is 100% coming my way, so I got to go into Shiny Boy, my best physical wall that I have in my team. Which, oh, by the way, this is a really good check to Mega Absol because, superpower and such, I don't have to rely on hitting the Stone Edge, and the superpower will just annihilate this thing. So that isn't even I'm going to click here because I don't think he'll switch into the Reuniclus, and I just feel like he will sack this thing. And he makes a very, very cool play. He goes for Will-O-Wisp. I didn't think he would bring a Will-O-Wisp Mega Absol. It was a very, very cool set. And because of Will-O-Wisp, I'm actually not going to be able to kill him because I'm not 252. I'm actually only 132 into my attack. So, yeah, if I was like way invested, I probably could have killed, but it's fine. So at this point, I'm just going to have to go for Edge. I can't predict the switch and go for Rocks. That would be a pretty cool play, but I can't. I can't be doing that because I need to try to win these games. He's going to go into the Man Bear Pig, the Emboar. And at this point, I don't really have the best counter to this thing. I do have a Piloswine, but like I said, I can't just naturally switch in a Piloswine on an Emboar. It doesn't work that way. So I'm just going to click Rocks. Hope I live. If he goes for anything but Superpower, I will live. So I'm just going to click Rocks here. As he goes for Flame Charge. Really, really interesting. I didn't think the set would ever come at all, and I wasn't expecting them when I was building. So yeah, I was like, dang, this is actually a pretty cool set, and this thing can actually beat me if he has the right coverage. So I'm just gonna sack this thing because at this point I'm at 13%. I'm burned. There's an offensive Pokemon I should sack this thing to. It's the one right in front of me, this Emboar. So I am gonna sting. Gigalith will unfortunately fall, but at this point there was really not much I can do. And at this point I thought I was gonna get swept, and then I realized max defense, max HP, EV Light, Piloswine. And since this thing is leftovers, I literally take less than 40% from a Flare Blitz, which is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous right there. So at this point, I'm just gonna click Earthquake because I literally have no reason not to. I did disconnect as you can see, but that's because I was on mobile. As he's gonna sack his Mega Absol to this EQ, and just like that, Palestine picks up the second kill of the game. First I don't know how many kills he has this season. I actually lost count. I killed after French after like 4 weeks. Anyways, he goes into Homer. These Snorlax. I'm just gonna go for Earthquake just so I can get some prior damage to this thing because I know he's gonna click Curse here. Because why else would you just send this thing in? Fire Punch is not gonna do a lot to me. So yeah, he does go for Curse, and I'm gonna hope he doesn't get. I'm gonna hope he gets greedy here and goes for another Curse, and he will indeed go for another Curse as I click Roar, which is that's amazing because this thing is gonna be out of the field. By the time it hits the field, it's gonna be back at 46%, and he will get to a KO by an Earthquake, which is fantastic. As he goes into he gets swapped down to the Reuniclus, which was unfortunate. Literally anything else would have been fine, but not this thing. So I'm gonna go into my Caesar and hope he doesn't click HP Fire. As he clicks Psychic, it does a million to me. Like I was like, oh my goodness. Go to my handy dandy calculator, and yeah, I find out he is just max. I found out he is just max special attack Psychic, and yeah, that does a lot. I'm gonna just click Bug Bite here because it will probably OHKO this thing. As he goes into Emboar, see, if I had a U-turn here, I'd be able to pivot versus this thing, but as a result, I really can't do much versus this Man Bear Pig. As I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for Bug Bite, and I'm gonna do absolutely zero because this thing 4 times resists my Bug Bite. That still does 17%. Considering that's a 4 times resist, that's actually not bad damage. And at this point, I'm gonna predict the Flame Charge like a real man because I feel like that's what this whole set's revolving around. Just Flame Charge and just 3 attacks. So I'm gonna go into this thing on the Flame Charge. I take 12%, which is ridiculous. And I'm like, dang, that was a pretty good play. I'm gonna give myself props on that one because Flare Blitz it would not have 2-killed. He did. I was watching his live and he did say that he could have 2-killed me there, but I'm telling you right now, you would not have 2-killed me because Palestine's ridiculous. So I'm gonna go for Earthquake here again. Like I said, he sacked this only Pokemon that can take Earthquake, which I didn't understand, and now I'm sure he's realized at this point I don't have anything to sack this. I don't really have anything to switch into an Earthquake anymore. As he goes into his Snorlax and takes 28% from his Earthquake, meaning he dies on the next turn. And yeah, Snorlax will 100% die, so now I can't get swept by a Curselax. The only thing that can really sweep me at this point is Trick and Reuniclus and potentially that flame charging Emboar. As he goes into the Reuniclus, at this point, I don't have a clean switch into this thing anymore, so I'm just gonna click Earthquake, get some damage off. If he doesn't have Recover, that'd be great. If I think I can force him to go for Recover. As he goes for Psychic, and that does a million. And at this point, this is a really questionable play. He does switch obviously. And I'm going to go for Earthquake because I'm 100% willing to sack this thing because look at the rest of my team. Specs Lottie can just win, and so can Scarf Togue. So at this point, I was 100% willing to sack my Palace Line. I'm just going to go for the EQ, and if he switches, that'd be great. I was thinking he might switch because if he doesn't have recovery, he can't be taking a lot of damage. As he goes into Mammoth Line, and I could still kill by an Earthquake. I'm not even invested. I'm 4 attack with just an impish nature. And at 2 kills is a Mammoth Line after rocks. That's ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, dang, that's amazing. The little brother of the Mammoth Swine is 2 killing him with an Earthquake. At this point, I know he cannot kill me unless he has superpower, so I stay in here. And he goes for Earthquake, and it does 23%, and Palace Swine will be able to kill his the leader of his tribe, the Mammoth Swine, the Sehwani, the Mammoth Swine. As the younger swine, the young swine picks up the kill versus the Sehwani, the Mammoth Swine, and that's awesome. That's now he's going to go into Man Bear pick. I 100% know he's clicking Flame Charge, but there's not much I can do. Plus, Scarf Took outspeeds a Scarf Embor, in this case, a Flame Charge and Embor, which is fine. That was really good prep on my part, because if I didn't prep for that, I could have been in trouble. If he had like Sucker Punch, but he didn't have Sucker Punch, as I found out in his match. So Lottie would have been just as fine. As I'm just going to go into this thing, and I'm going to click Air Slash. It easily OHKOs this thing for 71% because Embor does not have the best bulk in the world. It does have a good amount of HP, but not a lot of special defense. As his last Pokemon is Reuniclus, and even if he has Trick Room, he doesn't have enough turns to win. So I'm just going to go for Air Slash, hope for a flinch. I do 37%, meaning I did 3 KO him. But he is not going to flinch and he gets a Trick Room off, which is it's fine. Just gonna go for the psychic here, and it'll do a lot of damage. Considering how much bulk I have, that's actually crazy damage. As yeah, I just go for Air Slash. I don't miss this one, so I don't have to psychic Pokemon to win the game. And just like that, we win 4-0 against Melon and the Executor Chief Electivires. The only real hacks in this match was the 2 sleep powder misses, which considering Arcanine literally never hit the field after that, I don't know how much it mattered. I mean, it did matter in terms of Pokemon potentially switching into Arcanine, but the only thing that would have pressured Arcanine out was Emboar with like Head Smash, Curse Lax, which I had a Palisade for, and I guess Mamoswine. And Mamoswine in that case would be a kind of a problem. And I mean, he did have HP Fire on his Mamoswine, which is pretty cool. But I guess the sleep powder misses could have mattered with the Mamoswine because it probably had rocks, considering that was the only Pokemon I can have. Actually, no, he was AV, so he literally did not bring rocks versus me. That was interesting, considering, like I said, my team is very susceptible to Stealth Rock. Anyways, yeah, 200 turn match. It was not that long of a match at all. GG to Melantosh. His season has been anything but too successful. But I mean, I told him it wasn't because of his battling. I told him his team was just a little bit off whack. Like it's a little unbalanced when it comes to speed. But besides that, it's pretty cool with the Tangrowth and such. But yeah, GG to my opponent. I do play, I believe, the Verd next week, which is pretty interesting because the Verd I respect as a battler a lot, and he's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna be ending the match and the video right here. So yeah, au revoir and peace.